Welcome back to the video. This video we're going to go over what's called operators. In Java, and in all programming languages, programming is math-based. It was actually created, computers in general were created by mathematicians and stuff like that. So there's a lot of math involved in programming itself. Now, everybody just calm down. We're not actually this isn't a math class. I know I've taught plenty of people that say I can never learn programming because I'm not good at math. Well, look, there's a lot of programmers out there who are not good at math. That doesn't mean you can't be a programmer. As long as you can still think in a logical way and actually make the computer do what you want it to do, you should have no problem using any kind of math in programming and programming in general. So to start out, we're going to create a new project. So the new project we're going to create, and we're going to call it just operators. Now, I'm just going to use a command line app. And we're going to call this operators. Oops. So once this loads in, so like I said, in programming in general, it was created by mathematicians, so there's a lot of math involved in it. And to go from here, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to create some variables. And then we're going to do some math operations with those variables using these operators. And I'll show you kind of what each one does. And right off the bat, I'm going to show you which ones we're going off of. So there's the addition operator. There's the subtraction operator. There's the multiplication operator, which is the star above the eighth key on your keyboard. At least the keyboard in the United States, it's the 8 key that it's above. So it's a star operator. The division is your /. So that's division. And then the last one is called the modulus, okay? And that is the percent sign. Okay, and this is one that when I first started programming, I never really thought was that, I guess I forgot an I there, huh? I never thought was very useful, to be perfectly honest with you, until I started getting into, when I started building programs that you needed stuff to equal 0 to evaluate like true and false, I found that the modulus operator actually worked really well, because when you're evaluating things, it's designed to return the remainder in like division. So if there is a remainder, it's not an even split. It's a division. It's a fraction of a number. So in that case, you'll get some kind of remainder, and the modulus operator works really well with that. Well, when you use it in those certain situations, it actually works really well to use like a Boolean to evaluate things using the modulus operator. And we'll get into that. So let's build something real quick, and so let's we're gonna build a little program here, and basically what it's gonna do is it's going to calculate out just your hourly wage. Okay, so we'll just make a note. Oops. Hourly wage program. And what is this going to do? Well, the first thing we need to know to make this program work is obviously, well, how many hours did you work? So how many hours, that would be an int, right? Because you can't, I guess you could technically work 2.5. So actually, thinking of it that way, let's do a double. So we'll create a double, and we're going to say hours worked, and let's say we just worked a standard work week, 40 hours. Okay. Well, and then we also need to know how much you get paid. Well, pay is definitely a double, right? It's, it can be 25, 50, that you get paid. So we're going to do a double again, and we're going to say hourly rate. And let's just say you get paid $28.80. Okay? So, we've got those two variables. Now we know how much we make per hour and how many hours we worked. Well, now we need to figure out, what's our gross paycheck going to be? Okay? So we need another double, and we'll say total pay. Now, we're not going to assign anything to this variable right now, and this is perfectly fine. We can actually, once you create the variable like this, you can just call it and then assign a value to it like that, and that's totally legal. We're not going to do that, but you don't have to assign a value to most variables when you create them. But we're going to do a little math problem here, right? So, I mean, what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for total pay, how much we get paid. Okay, so let's say total pay. And how do we find this? Well, we're going to do 28.80 times 40. And that will give us our total pay, right? But we don't want to do that. We want to use the variables. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to be calling the variables doing that. Okay? So we're going to say hourly rate times hours worked, and that will give us total pay. And now we want to print that out. So we'll say your total pay was, and then we'll jump over here and we'll say total pay. Okay, and now let's run that real quick, okay? So we're going to see what it comes out to be. Well, it looks like your total pay was $1,152. Okay. So that was for 1 week of work, $28.80 an hour. So let's say we worked 80 hours, so 2 weeks. So this would be your paycheck. So $2,300 about is what it's going to end up with. Now, there's, like I said, these are different things that we can do with this. Now, but like I said, we did a math problem here, right? We calculated this out. We got the value, we passed it into this variable, total pay, okay? And then we printed it out to the screen. I mean, this is as basic gets when it comes to programming. But you can start to see how you can do all kinds of different things with these concepts, right? I mean, as you need to store information, well, you have variables for that. As you need to call that information, you have the variable names. As you need to calculate things out to get a sum, maybe, do some kind of operation on those sums, you can do all of that. And this is very handy when it comes to larger programs. And like I said, I understand looking at it now, kind of looks kind of boring, right? But it's going to get way more interesting when you start getting in depth with this stuff and you start building bigger pieces of software. So that's where we're going to stop. I'm going to stop the video here. The next video, we're going to be going off of assignment operators. So a different type of operator besides math operators. So I hope to see you in the next one. And we're going to stop that. And the next one will be going over assignment operators, which is just another type of operator in Java. And I promise we're getting very close to actually starting to write some software. So I'll see you in the next one.